Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. As you can see, here I am Karen Chaston. And today I have an amazing guest, Michelle Shanks. So let's bring her on. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
Great to see you here. Now, for everyone, let me just tell you, for the last 20 minutes, we've been trying to get Michelle here. So it has been fun. We got down to a minute and a half and she popped right in. So thank you, Spirit, for being with us and for guiding us today and for helping us out. Now, Michelle, you are an amazing lady and you look fantastic today. Thank you very much for popping in the way that you did. But seriously, though, you and I met years and years and years ago. And if everyone can just type in, say hello, let us know so that we can see actually who's here, ask some questions. Michelle, can you see the comments on the right of your screen?
I think I can, yes.
Yeah, excellent.
There's none there yet, but yeah.
That's right. But anyway, we do have a love and we do have a few people watching. So, Michelle, you are actually one of my clients that actually went through the Beyond Loss retreat as I was bringing it all together. Hi, Diane. Nice to see you. Hi, Jules. Harley Gray. Oh, these people who popped up.
Hi, Jules.
Thank you. Right. So, Michelle, through you, I have created this amazing program and I'm really grateful for you going through the program and assisting me to be able to tweak things to make it better. But I'd like today for you to share whatever you feel comfortable about who you are and not only how we got together, but then our experience of actually you going through the Beyond Loss retreat. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me here, Karen. Look, it's been quite the journey, hasn't it? You've seen a tremendous growth in me. I've seen tremendous growth in me that I actually didn't know was possible. And I didn't know was possible because I didn't understand how shut down I was. And I refer back to a comment that I've heard you say a few times about being in groundhog days. As in being in a daze, and I was really shut down. I had disappeared into myself. I was fully caged in my grief, and not so much when we started to work through the program. I was starting to lift then, but ultimately the work that we did together, whilst beneficial from a course perspective for you maybe, was life-affirming for me, life-changing, and really exactly what I needed in that moment to keep me.
Because some people are saying that's me, like Jules has just said, that's me. So when I refer to a Groundhog Day days, it's like you're living every day the same and you don't have a better perspective on how you could live and love your life. Is that how you felt, or expand on that for us?
Okay. What I can say now is I didn't love myself. But now I can say I love myself. I actually can look in the mirror and I like the reflection I see.
Now, are you doing the Fonzie salute each morning? Which is,
no.
Hey!
I'm not, but I should. And that's a great way.
No, there's no such thing as should. So you could. and maybe moving forward, and that's what I want everyone to actually be able to get to the stage where you do actually wake up and you do look at yourself and you do actually go, hey, and you're looking good. You've got past the pimples, the wrinkles, whatever it is, but you truly are living and loving who you are.
I actually really, for the first time, I'm 51. I just turned 51 on the 5th of August. And I can honestly say in the last, probably since we completed the coursework, actually, I would say, I actually could see in myself the beauty and the love and the generosity and all the things that my friends have been telling me for years was in me. I just couldn't see it. I was treading water. In fact, I was in quicksand. under quicksand, if I'm going to be honest. Whereas now I can actually see it. I can actually, my friends and the acquaintances I have and the relationships that I have with people that aren't in my daily life, that they continue to sustain me because they're so open and willing to tell me what it is that they love about me. And I wasn't open to hearing it before. So I say to you, if you're in a place of deep despair, loss, grief, heartache, heartbreak, anger, resentment, frustration, the whole encompassing measure of all those things, whatever it is for you in this moment, if you can't find it in yourself, please, please, please listen to your friends, listen to the people that love you, let them tell you, let them enthuse about you, let them reassure you, let them give back to you. Are really, really important. Even if you're not in a place of belief, at least be open to hearing about it. That's what
now, I like that, Michelle, but I also feel that some friends may not have your best interest at heart.
Well, that's
now,
a whole.
How do you have that discernment to actually understand that it's best to listen to this person and not to this person?
Okay, so when I speak about listening to your friends, obviously I'm asking people to be open to listen to the positive when you've got negative self-thoughts. Yeah. And so I would confirm that. I'm very, very blessed. I have the most incredible, thank you everyone, I actually really do. I have the most incredible group of friends. I actually don't have a group of friends that I go like walking with like threes. I've got individual friends and a lot of friends who have never met before, but each of them sustains me and has sustained a friendship with me. My oldest friend, Sue, down in Canberra, we were friends from school 41 years we've been friends. Other friends 32, 33 years from Navy, and then friendships that have been recent friendships that have renewed because I've been able to step out of my despair and actually come back to the person that I was, and they've been reinvigorated by everyone saying, that's who you are, that's the Shell that I love, that's the Shell that I want in my life. And that just reaffirms to me how lost I actually really, really was.
So what put you into this group? Because as you said, you were in the army, and I like what Jules has said, trust your gut. I love what LeGray has said. The one thing I have learned, you live every day, we just die once. Like, that is amazing. Because so many of us do actually feel like we're dying, and, we come to a stage when, did you ever feel like that, Michelle?
I actually was walking dead. I can honestly say that. I was actually walking dead. You asked what put me into this grief. It was several things. So my marriage imploded exactly a month to the day after we moved down to Victoria to take up a position with my husband in the military. And I had been his roadie for, at that point in time, 28 years. We got together in 1992 and we separated last March 20th. In 2019, and the same day my father died, and I was estranged from my father, and people say, well, why was that such a big deal? And it was because there was trauma there between us that I had worked to heal but hadn't actually done the healing work on. So two things happened in one day, and then I became, my finances were severed. Then my business was severed. The day that my business was severed by my husband, my uncle, my only uncle, my father's brother, had a massive heart attack in his home and had to be resuscitated and operated on. He was in Tasmania. I couldn't get to him, and that was the person I'm probably closest to in my whole family outside of his children and his beautiful wife, Jane. And then my girlfriend, gorgeous friend who I love dearly, was diagnosed with invasive cancer with 2 young children. That all happened in the space of 2 weeks. And I also became...
happen a lot, doesn't it? It does seem to happen that, you'll be bombarded. Like, you'll live a life for, a while where everything is love, everything is great. Then all of a sudden, everything is swamped at you at once.
Well, everything wasn't great, but I was down. I'd moved down to Victoria to reinvigorate the marriage, to renew it. I know I'd been doing this repeatedly for many, many years, and from the outside, people thought that we were a gorgeous couple, and at times we were, and I'll honour that. But for the most part, it was actually quite abusive, and no one knew that it was going on. It was financially abusive, it was mentally abusive, it was emotionally abusive. There was a lot of gaslighting, and I realise now, trauma bonding, and I had an attached style because I had early trauma in childhood. So I've worked through a lot of that now, but I couldn't have got to that had I not done the work with you. So that's all come post doing the work with you, all that come to light. So the work I did with you, that you guided me through, and that we've travelled together. It wasn't easy for me, but I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity and that I didn't back away. And I will say,
and you didn't back away. You actually did it. You may have taken a little bit longer on certain things, but you always were in contact saying, I am working through it. I am, and obviously I was available.
You were very available, but you were also not complacent, and you held me accountable in a very loving way. And I really needed that at the time, because otherwise I would have turned heel and backed away. So I'll say to anybody who's listening to this that thinks that they can get through their grief on their own, yes, you can. It's going to take a long time, though. What Karen does and what Karen did for me was just phenomenal. I got there so much quicker, and when I got it like not with one light bulb. It was like the room lit up. Like it was like someone put spotlights on me, and I was just like, wow. I got goosebumps right now talking about this. I can actually do this. I can actually have a life without this man. I'm going to have a better life without this man. I don't have to carry that trauma through life with me anymore. Did I cry? Yes, I cried. Karen, did I cry? I cried every minute of every day.
That's the problem with people. People think crying's a bad thing.
No, it's brilliant.
Crying is a release.
It is.
And the more that we cry, the more we release this stuck energy that we carry, from our first trauma. And that could have happened as a child. It could have happened as a teenager, and more than likely it would have happened before you became a young adult. And that's what people need to understand is because we've never really been taught how to move beyond loss, and we can all easily move beyond loss. It was quite funny. I was talking to a lady this morning, and I was explaining the process, and I sort of said to them, imagine if you went in to do a maths exam and you didn't understand the equation. Right? Any equation. You'd sit there and you think, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have no thing. But as we know with maths, they're formulas, and we're taught the formulas from a young age, and we go, oh, okay, I know how to do that. I'll just grab this formula for this question and another formula for another one. Well, that's exactly how you move beyond loss. There is a formula to it, and we went through the formula. We just followed the steps. And they all build on each other, just like in a maths equation, the steps build on each other. And it is that simple.
It actually really was that simple, and you made it simple for me. And as I said, I sort of had a process where I was, everyone's saying, oh, time heals all wounds. How many times have we said that? How many times have we heard it? Is it actually true?
We've all said it and heard it. Yeah.
However, the process that we underwent actually did allow true healing, because I got to see what it was that I had pushed down and didn't want to look at, that had actually really brought me to this end result. I couldn't understand how I could love someone so much and they could treat me so poorly. Mm-hmm. And possibly from his.
And what did you learn from that, Michelle?
I learned that the relationship I had with my mother actually led me to the relationship I had with my husband. And so I basically didn't heal the relationship with my mother before she passed away, but I chose early in life to partner with someone who was actually a lot like my mum. but I didn't understand that. And there had been times when I actually looked at him and thought he was like my dad, that he managed me like my father managed me. But I came to realise that actually, in fact, was not true. Now, when we went through the course work, it was in the timeline therapy that I actually came to have that realisation. And even though I haven't actually closed the relationship out with Ashley yet, because I'm just not in the mind space to do it, and I love also everyone who's listening, Karen's very good about that. She, in your time, for what you're ready to do, but she will give you.
You have closed out a lot of relationships though in the process.
Yeah. So, but healing that one with my mum actually allowed me to see where other relationships that were in my life, why they were there, how I had attracted them in if they hadn't exactly been healthy. And look, we will attract in love, we will attract in trauma, we'll attract in drama, we'll attract in whatever we need to be working through to get ourselves to a higher place, I believe. And I believe that I actually have come through a cycle and closed out a cycle now. I'm right on the tail end of it. I know I've got one more like tower moment. Everybody who's in the spiritual events directory will understand what a tower moment is. And I believe I just have one more tower moment. I know it's coming. I know it's actually coming very, very soon. I'm in preparedness for it. I just am in such a much stronger, defined version and place within myself to know that it's not going to take me to the ground and hold me there. So, yeah, that's key, having that strength.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being so open and honest. So what I'm feeling, Michelle, is, and you said it earlier, you now love yourself where you didn't before. Do you feel healing your relationship? Do you feel healing your relationship with your mom was one of the keys to you being able to love yourself?
Yeah, let's have a quick chat about that if you like. Yep. So for everybody listening, when I was 7 years old, my mum tucked me into bed one night, and I can talk about this very openly and honestly now. And she tucked me in tight. My bed was against the wall, so there was no getting out of bed. But she said to me, "I've got something I want to tell you." And I said, "Yes, Mummy." And she said, "Well," I said, "What is it?" She said, "I hate you. I really, really, really hate you." And I can still see her face to this day as she told it to me. And I didn't know what hate was at that point in time. And I said, "Why, Mummy? Why do you hate me?" And she said, "Because your father loves you so much. And he should love Richard and Tracy," which are my brother and sister, as much as he loves you, and he doesn't, right? So that was a very formative moment. So from that, I tracked forward realising it was a bad thing that my father loved me, and my mother, who's supposed to love me, didn't. And so you carry that really, really far in life, let me tell you. And when your own mother doesn't love you, you go looking for love in all the wrong places. And so I travelled a life where I went looking for love in all the wrong places, and that's a lot of healing you got to do. But yeah, so that's why it was so formative that we healed and closed out that first relationship, being my mother. Beyond, even though I was going through all this hardship because my husband decided that he was going to punish me financially and emotionally and legally through our separation. His choice, not mine. I have to honour that that's what he wanted. It's not what I wanted at all. It wasn't as important to close out that relationship as it was to close out the one with my mother, because I do not want to attract in another man like my husband. I can promise you right now. Yeah.
So thank you again for sharing that. Jules, I'm not sure what you mean by shift quickly now. Can you expand on that? Are you talking about our conversation or for Michelle to shift? I just find it's an interesting conversation, considering your previous one was "It's so good." So, Michelle, during the process, I'm more than happy to share with people, is one of the activities we do is we actually go through all the cliches, all the things we say, all of the things that really don't serve us. What did you find in doing that process to figure out, what, not only the things we say and do and the things that are not so ideal to say and do, but also your unhealthy habits, that we
Oh,
go
right.
into.
Like addictive behaviours?
Yeah, that we
Yeah, sure.
become our coping mechanisms and we don't even realise that we're doing it.
So for me, a major coping mechanism was to eat. Even though I was eating healthy food, I was eating a lot of it. I was trying to fill myself up. I was really, really empty. I was really lonely. I was really alone. And I was lonely in the marriage because he presented one way to the public and there was another way at home. And so I was in a constant state of contradiction. I know I'm a loving person, and everybody who knows me knows I'm a loving person. And if I'm not treating you with love, you've really hurt me very deeply. In fact, if you do that, I actually probably can't look at you. That's how I function, right? So I'm probably not going to lash out in any way, shape or form because that's not who I am. So I had no place to put this misplaced feelings, all these things. And so, yeah, I ate. I had started to drink a little bit with him because he was drinking. And but it didn't sit right with me, and I knew it wasn't what I wanted, and it wasn't what I wanted in a partner. And if I drew attention to it, I got blamed for it, and there was a lot of blaming. So actually part of the addictive behavior is actually being in a relationship like that where you are made to feel less. It's the trauma bonding aspect of the relationship was the addiction. In fact, staying in the cycle was the addiction. Didn't matter how many times I tried to break the cycle and say, no, enough now. And that's why the universe brought this tower moment in, where literally it was like I describe it to people now and I say, what happened? Bomb, tunnel, implosion. There was no getting out of it. It had to happen that way because for 28 years, I've basically been trying to leave that man since I met him. That's how addicted I was. So if you want to talk about addiction, we can talk about food, we can talk about alcohol, we can talk about sex, we can talk about drugs, we can talk about, I don't know, whatever. But the true addiction was being in that relationship, and that's what I recognise now, and that's what I'm free of.
Okay, so as you said, he was very much your mother.
He wasn't mothering to me.
No, but he acted the same way as your mother did.
Inadvertently, the nature of the relationship was very similar to what I had with my mother. That's what I understand now.
Okay, cool. So we in the program that we do, we always touch on radical forgiveness. And for our viewers and listeners, radical forgiveness is the most amazing concept. If you haven't read the book by Colin Tipping, I highly recommend that you read it. But the whole concept of radical forgiveness is that no one does anything to you, they do it for you on a mental, emotional, physical and spiritual growth, which is not an easy concept for anyone to develop. But I have to say, once you do actually bring it into your life, life becomes easier. What do you feel?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I had to do a radical forgiveness application to a short-term relationship that I had just recently with a gorgeous man. I really honestly thought that person was going to be my life partner, and I was geared up for that, and I was ready for that, and that's what I wanted. And all of a sudden it disintegrated without warning again. Not a tower moment. As I said, I'm having these tower moments in quick succession now, but I recognise them, so they're easier to handle. But within that, I did that radical forgiveness process that you recommended, and it was a great tool to look at what it was. And the thing that you said to me that was so beautiful, right off the bat, you said to me, there was 4 things, but I'll say the first thing. The first thing was, what did you get out of this relationship? And my answer to you was, I felt loved for the very, sorry, I might tear up here.
That's all right. Let it flow.
Sorry, people.
I felt okay. Everyone understands. You're talking about a lot of emotional stuff, and let it flow. And that's while you're allowing it to flow. It's really important for people to understand that our emotions come to us to actually guide us. We see them as, oh, we don't want them, and we stop the flow. Emotions are energy in motion. E squared, right? So it's about us allowing the emotions to come, recognizing them, thanking them, and then allowing them to move on, not to stuck them. It's like to get them stuck. Because that's what causes disease and all of these other things. And Yeah.
That's a really valid point. Actually, I'll just pop back to what I was going to say. I can say it now. I felt loved for the very first time in my life, outside of obviously my son. I actually felt like I was loved, like I was seen, like I was felt, like my spirituality was accepted. Like I was accepted and we saw into each other's souls. So it felt like a really, really great loss to me. But you asked me what was the gift, and the gift was that I felt loved for the very first time in my life. I felt like I was loved the way I wanted to be loved. It was
and that is an amazing gift, because now you know your boundaries. So you're going to say, well, if I don't get this, I'm not settling anymore.
Well, interesting, because my girlfriend Linda and I, she's a beautiful kinesiologist and does a lot around food nutrition. She's a wonderful human being. And she and I were laughing about manifesting, inviting in, welcoming an extraordinary man into my life. And that is that's not my primary focus, but the intention is there, that's what and who I'm getting. Yeah. Because
excellent.
To be honest, I'm not a walk in the park. I don't see he's going to need to be extraordinary.
But let's be honest, we're all humans, right? So we are all perfectly imperfect. So none of us are a walk in the park. And if we are a walk in the park, are we actually being honest with ourselves and with others? Because, so many times, you're so easy to get on with, you like everything I do and all this sort of stuff. But is the person actually being honest?
No, absolutely not. And you know what? That's what that recent relationship showed me too, was that I stepped in 100% open and honest, and at the end of it, I could see that the other person hadn't, and that's why it had to end. And I actually was able, after we closed out that relationship, 2 weeks ago, yesterday, actually, he had some communication with me, and I was actually able to state very clearly to him, thank you for ending the relationship. It was the right thing to do, and I'm really grateful that you did it now and not a year from now, so that I can move forward. Yeah, and I believe that, and I mean it. Sometimes relationships have to be let go of. We get attached to belonging, and there is no belonging. There's no true belonging.
We belong to ourselves and our higher selves.
And it's absolutely true that you can't have a great relationship with anyone unless you have a great relationship with yourself, and that's what you've shown me. I'm the foremost relationship. So we put our children first when they're born and through that, their older age and that. But the relationship with self is the most important relationship, and I finally get that. And I think you can hear the truth in that. I think people can.
Oh, totally. What I also feel, Michelle, too, is a lot of women in their 50s, and you stated earlier that you've just turned 51. And, I didn't get it till I was like 54, 55. This great understanding that you're the only person you're going to spend your entire life with. I
am.
Yeah. So why are we putting ourselves last and giving up on our dreams? And it's just a shame that we have to get to 50 before we realise that, which is why I do what I do, to help people to realise that putting yourself first is not selfish. It's actually selfish if you don't put yourself first, because you cannot show up. You cannot be there in the relationship if you are tired, if you are, in regret, resentment. And, it really is important that we understand that our me time is what I love to call it, as you know. Our me time is the most important thing that you can actually do for yourself and all of your relationships when you actually spend, and it doesn't have to be a lot of time, 20 minutes, half an hour. And if you don't have the time to do it, rise half an hour earlier than you normally would, because you are going to be energized. You are going to be feeling amazing. You'll be definitely getting out of bed and doing the old Fonzie salute, the old hey, every single morning, because everything starts to come together. It's really important. Now, I'm just going to take a little break and have a look at some of these comments. Because, and thank you everyone for being here and listening.
Yeah,
Write in anything else about you'd like, any question you'd like to ask Michelle or myself, just come in and just ask. So many people have said it's wonderful that you've moved on. Really liked Matthew's comment. My lady friend in the Philippines uses her ears to show love to those hurting.
Yes.
And you know what? There is so much in the silence. There really is. There is a reason.
Silence as well, but yes, that's a really great comment that Matthew has written there, because I am a natural talker, as Karen can attest to, and you can probably understand here. My healing has come from others listening. So that is a beautiful and valid point, Matthew, and there's truth in it. And I assist others to heal in talking, because sometimes I have words for what they don't understand or can't communicate. And so it can work both ways. Sometimes, more often than not, listening. And Karen is a beautiful listening heart. And if you go through the program, what you'll understand is that at the end of the process, when you're doing your closing out letter to heal the relationship, Karen is a beautiful listening heart always, and has definitely, thank you, Karen, been that for me on more than one occasion. Even when I rang you distressed after the towel moment in the recent relationship, you were so calm and you said, "This is what I see. Is that what you feel?" And you just really heard through the words what it was I was trying to convey. And so if you're thinking about doing Karen's coursework, I highly recommend it, by the way, but if you are thinking about it, just understand that the level of support that comes with the education you're going to get is phenomenal. Second to none.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. It's wonderful to see you've moved on, as she said. Yes, Deanna, I guess that's how you say your name. I've never seen it spelt that way. It's actually beautiful because you've got an I in there. And as we're talking, everything is about the I.
Yes.
So yeah, look, honestly, I highly recommend Radical Forgiveness. Obviously, that's one of the different modalities that I do use in my programs. I do use others as well, but it is absolutely amazing process that Colin Tipping has put together. And I do feel it's something that I truly wish that I had understood at a much younger age, because when you do understand radical forgiveness, you don't take everything so seriously. You actually look for, why is this happening to me? What is there inside of me that requires healing? And how can I move on? So you don't sort of get as angry with the other person. Would you agree, Michelle?
Honestly, if you're angry with the other person, your anger's misplaced. That's what, and I knew that, and in the towel moment that occurred in the marriage, where I found information that led to the implosion, in that moment, I said to myself, "I forgive you." It took me a lot longer to forgive me than it did for him. I almost forgave him in the moment because I knew I needed to, because I knew otherwise I'd be drinking poison every day. And I know that's a saying that gets brandished around. If you're angry with the other person, your anger is misplaced. And if you can move beyond anger and find love for yourself first, you will then be able to find love for the other person, in their heartache, in their actions, maybe in their words, maybe whatever. I forgave him, and I told him repeatedly that I had forgiven him, in the hope that he would come into a loving space. He was unable to do that. He reacted in anger, fear, you name it. He took the other path, and I stayed true to my path. And I would go days and days and days where I would just send out so much love through my body, through my mind, through my heart, through the universe, through the soles of my feet, into the ground, hoping that he would receive that love and feel it and change his path. I reached out to him with words, with messages, with phone calls, with texts. You can't do it for the other person. You can only ever do it for yourself. Exactly. So I chose to cry every tear. I said, I will not let this make me sick. Did it pull me down? Yes. Was I on my knees? Repeatedly. Every time my friends put me back on my feet, he'd put me to my knees again with his actions that were just so unnecessary. That's pain in him. And I can forgive that. And he needs forgiveness. But I needed to forgive myself first for being in the situation.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Michelle. As Jules says, you talk beautifully. Diana, thank you for letting me know how to pronounce your name, even though you do have an extra A in there, as you highlighted. And Diana has also said, you make forgiveness sound so powerful. And that's what radical forgiveness is all about. It's about for yourself so you can move on.
If you can forgive yourself first, everything else is easy after that.
Yeah, exactly. But, so many times we carry this stuff with us and we're not going to forgive the person, and we do make ourselves sick and we carry all of this weight with us. And when we think about it and deep dive into it, which is exactly what we obviously did in our time together, you begin to realize that you're carrying all this stuff and the other person has moved on and they're probably not even thinking about it or being burdened by it. So what's the point of you actually taking it? And I'm trying to think of the saying. It's not coming to me. It's something like about you giving the other person poison and you're drinking it.
Yeah. So, you're the one that's affected. So I'll say this, and I think it comes back to this at a very, very core level, and this is what you did. You took me back to this place. You don't know who you are until you stand butt naked in the middle of a field, nowhere, with no one and nothing. And you have to find your way back to yourself. That's when you know who you truly are.
But when you say that, Michelle, you find yourself back to not the persona of who you've created over the years.
Who you really are.
Back to yourself for who you are, probably when you first came into this world.
Yes.
Because when we come into this world, we are pure. We are. We have everything that we require to get ourselves to the end of this journey, this spiritual journey that we're all on. But through the process of growing up and misunderstanding things and interpreting things probably not the way that they were intended at that moment, we create this persona of who we think is the best person for us to survive in the world.
We get caught up in the daily-dayness. Yeah. We are born with joy, with love, with the energy to provide for ourselves, and we forget now. And this is a really big aspect of my loss journey was, Karen and I have talked about this recently, and I'll share this, thinking I couldn't provide for myself. But I don't actually need to provide for myself. The universe has provided beautifully for me on all fronts. If I told you, the list is so long of how people have just come to my door with vegetables or fruits or a haircut or petrol for my car, and that when the person that was supposed to love me the most in the world, the person that professed to loving me the most in the world, the person I had attached myself to and was addicted to believing loved me, just completely severed myself and my son off and didn't care if we had a vegetable or a fruit in our fridge, nothing. Didn't care if I could pay a bill, nothing, right? And yet the universe said, it doesn't matter. We've got your back. Here is the proof. I have had 18 months of solid proof that I am provided for. The universe has my back. I just have so much evidence of it. I can't even tell you.
That's fabulous. So how often do you go into fear over being able to provide for yourself?
You've seen me in fear. I actually put my back out 2 weeks ago now, and maybe 3, and it was exactly around the fear of providing for myself. And then I had the conversation with Karen, and she said, what part of your back is it? And I said, it's my lower back. And I already intrinsically knew that my back was the way it was due to financial concern and providing for myself. And because I have a low level of education, but I do have a lot of ability, which I'm starting to believe in. Karen got out Ina Segal's book.
Yes, so I'll just grab it while you're talking.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful book for everyone.
It was absolutely incredible. And she opened it to the page about backs, and she just went down in the lower back. It said exactly, lacking
The
courage.
language of your body. It's absolutely an amazing book.
That
anything that ails you, I highly recommend everyone gets this. Look it up, and it gave you an affirmation, didn't it?
It did. Well, it gave me a remedy, which I did instantly. And I'm moving about free and easy the day after, actually. It was almost instant. And I knew in myself, and I'd had the conversation with a girlfriend who was single and had raised 2 children. Hello, beautiful Mel, if you're watching. And I'd said to her, and she said, oh, honey, I get it. She said, I've raised 2 kids on my own. She said, you've got this. You can do this. But I didn't believe it. I did not believe it. But once we spoke about it, and this is the thing that I do love, Karen, is that you don't fade away after the work. And I can come back to you and I can say, have that conversation and say, oh, crap, what's this about? And you just seem to know what it is. And I love that.
Thank you. Well, as everyone knows, if you've been watching this show, I think this is our 6th show. I have a son on the other side. So, and he's always dropping in to give me insights. But more importantly, I'm tuning more and more into my inner wisdom, because we are all the master we are seeking. And so often we forget that, and we sort of give our power away. And it's really ideal for everyone to start to tap into us. Like, we have a twin flame that sort of sits around our heart, okay? And the first one, which I believe is, yes, it's blue, is our power. The middle one, which is yellow, is our wisdom. And the third one is our love, which is pink. And so often we have our twin, or it's not a twin flame, it's a threefold flame. I apologize. So our threefold flame, a lot of the time, is burning more or less on empty, because we haven't tapped into our power, our wisdom, and our love. And the more that we start to tap into it and start to believe it, the more that we can actually create the life where and it's not power from an overpowering point of view. It's our power of knowing who we are and knowing where we're going. So it's about us all understanding that we have that within us and asking, what is my threefold flame burning at? And how can I enlighten it? So ignite it. And so it does start to really be very powerful and full of wisdom and full of love, not only for ourselves, but for everyone that we meet.
It's so true. It's so true. Each of you that is in this space and listening to this or listens to it later will know whether or not you're in alignment. I was completely out of alignment. In fact, I'd go as far as to say I was a speck on a horizon. I had no alignment. I knew what I wanted for myself, but I kept trying to step into it. I was stepping into it with the wrong person, and I just needed to take it and run with it for me. And after the course work that we did together, it became really, really obvious that I actually really wanted some things for myself. I really wanted. I intend to live till I'm 97. I'm just putting that right out there. 97's the number.
I'm 93, so I'm about 12 years older than you, so that's okay.
But you present so young, and you've got such a beautiful youthful energy, and I think when you have a love and a passion for what you want and what you do, you stay youthful in that. You stay youthful.
It does. Your youth and vitality gene kicks in.
It does.
It is so true. And it's about understanding that we do have that within us. You look at photos of me when I was in my CFO days. I look older then than what I do now. And they're like 10 years apart. So, but that's what it is. So it is about us understanding that we do have everything inside us that we require for us to thrive. But it is about us tapping in and loving who we are.
And that process comes about when you do the release work, absolutely, definitely, because you're suddenly like, oh, okay, why did I drag that through life? Why did I make me about that? That was something that happened. But once you do it, you understand why, and then you can release it. And that's the beautiful part about it, is that you actually get to see in writing why you feel the way you feel. Because until you do it, you can't actually understand why you feel it. You can go over and over and over in your head. But, like when you read a recipe and you're supposed to put this with this and then stir it and bring it together and cook it this way, that makes sense, right? Well, that's what this process is. It's bringing all the ingredients together and seeing the finished dish. You want that dish to be something you want to enjoy.
Okay. But you've got to do the deep dive into you to actually be able to figure out what serves you and what doesn't.
And I think a lot of people avoid doing that because they don't want to look at the darkest parts of themselves. But it actually turns out that the darkest parts of me were the parts that I actually needed to love the most, and I actually now do. I can actually honour.
That's so lovely to hear. So everyone, thank you for your comments. We've got just over 14 minutes left. So any questions for Michelle or myself? Now's the time that we would really love for you. You can ask Michelle anything.
Yeah, anything.
As you probably gathered, you can ask me anything as well. I'm pretty much an open book. I don't see the point in not being. And I guess that comes with loving yourself too, and knowing who you are and where you're going. I think we stop hiding parts of ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, look, I can tell anyone anything they want to know about me, and even probably things they don't want to know, because it just doesn't matter. It's contextual. It's in that moment. If I think that person needs to know something in that moment, I'll share it. I don't have any fear around judgment anymore. The only person whose thoughts matter are actually my sons. Both my parents are passed over. So I don't have that obligation to sort of hold myself in a certain light for them. Obviously, I don't want to bring any shame to my son, but through this process, he's seen me at my best and at my worst. And do I wish that had occurred like that? No, but it's happened. And I think it's fortified him and strengthened him as a young male adult.
I'm sure it has.
It has. And he tells me that. But still, I would have liked to have spared him all the tears and seeing me so depressed in that. It's been a real journey to get through, and it wasn't a journey that I wanted to take. It was a journey I had to and needed to take and was forced on me. But now I'm really, really grateful. I've spent the last 18 months saying that I'm sitting in a place of grace and gratitude. But I can say honestly, that after I felt this huge renewal of self, having done the work with you, everything tasted, smelled, looked, sounded better. Music was sweeter. My feet in the ocean really are really, really present in every single moment now. Every single moment.
That's so lovely. Thank you for saying that.
That's true.
Yeah, talking about your son, Matt, I feel that through him going through the process with you and seeing exactly how you're affected, I'm sure it will make him a better partner and man because he's only quite young, he's in his early 20s. So as he travels through life, I'm sure that will help him in knowing what to do and what not to do.
Well, you were very gracious and allowed him to listen in on a couple of our sessions where I felt that there was information that he needed. And I know that's probably not a normal practice, but given our circumstances were pretty dire at the time, you did allow it, and I was grateful for it. And he did reflect on the information, and the way you put it to him so directly, you spoke in a language that a young man could hear. And you and I have both thought and believe that you will be working heavily with young men. And I know that you would dearly love to be able to pass on that knowledge that you have, that wisdom that you have to young men so that they don't have to suffer. And interestingly, what's happened is that through this journey back to self, I've had to go back into the dating arena, which has been very interesting and confusing at the same time. But I have.
So how long was it before? So you was what, 20 odd years between dates, if that makes sense?
20, nearly 29.
Yeah, I know. So that's a long time.
So everybody's probably having a laugh about.
But so do you find that you're more open and honest and you just say it as it is?
Absolutely. I was pretty much like that anyway, because I just think that if you speak the truth, you never have to remember what you say. And that's my rule. Yeah, that's my rule.
Like that. And it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
So how has it been?
The dating?
Yeah. Have you had to, that relates to if you slept, I'm going to say, have you had to, what was the old saying? Chop your arm off to run away?
No, never. I have met it's taught me some really big lessons. I have met some absolutely phenomenal men. I have now have some beautiful friendships with really gorgeous, strong males whose hearts are open and I actually just had a gorgeous friend, Rick, call me, and he was one of my initial dates, and I walked up behind him for the date, and I just washed over me. This is a man that's still in love with his wife and hadn't even seen his face at that point in time. And he turned around and he smiled at me, and I jumped down to where he was. I was at Queenscliff, and I said, "You're still in love with your wife?" And he just went, "Yes, I am." I said, "Okay, come on, let's go have a walk." And we are firm friends. So he's just actually asked me today, just rang me literally half an hour before we got on, to ask me to travel forward on a journey that he had undertaken where he wants to teach men how to interface with women. And so I do know that this is my path, and I have been manifesting. I know I'm going to be in front of people speaking and talking in a healing modality.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's what I found, the things that happen to us, I feel that they happen to us to assist us to make it easier for someone else.
This is what coaching is about. Yeah, that's exactly right.
The thing I teach people is the complete opposite to what I did, when Dan passed away, when I chose redundancy and all of these things that, I did it the hard way. I tell people, no, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it the easy way. And here I went searching to show you how you can easily move beyond any kind of loss and create your better everyday life. And that's what I love about it, is the fact that why do it the hard way? Just because we've done it that way for centuries and centuries and centuries doesn't mean it's the way to do it, does it?
Well, I wish there had been someone there for you the way you have been there for me and for others. But this is your life's work. You know that. I know that. Yeah, Dan knows that. Everyone who meets you knows it. And I'm so grateful. I have so much gratitude towards the fact that you didn't keep yourself in the hole, that you stepped out. Wow. That you found out how to get out there, and now you're helping other people get out of that hole. And honestly, I would still be in that hole if it wasn't for you. That's the truth. I mean, I had beautiful friends assisting me, some of whom you know, and one of our mutual friends, I won't say her name because she gets a bit public shy, but she knows who she is, and Jules will know who she is as well. She said to me, when I was saying, why is he doing this? And she's saying, but you have to understand, you have to look at his pain. He's in pain. How much pain must he be in to be doing what he's doing to you? And that they were like physical things like, making me homeless and stuff. I take responsibility for my actions and that. But just such an incredible thing where if you can look at the other person's pain, it makes the loss somewhat easier to bear.
Yeah.
You had no one to help you through that, and yet here you are just giving in the modality. It's absolutely incredible, your journey from start to finish. And you share that picture of yourself in your groundhog's Groundhog Days, and I look at it and I see myself. So I know I know what you do. Obviously, I have not lost a child, and there is no great loss in my mind.
But there's no difference there's no hierarchy in loss. And that's one thing that everyone needs to understand, you know, so many times. And I stupidly said it to people as well before I dived into loss and stuff, is it is for everyone to understand that, you know, a death of a loved one doesn't trump a divorce, or doesn't trump a dog loss, or a pet loss for that matter, because every relationship is unique, and therefore every way, the feelings that everyone has are in regards to this loss event are unique. So it is, you know, so no one should ever say, well, you know, I just got divorced, you lost a child, so, you know, yours sort of is better than mine. It's not. No, the feeling and the loss and the devastation and the grieving is, we cannot compare, because we don't know how anyone else feels. So it's important for people to understand that, you know, and I have apologized to the girl who I stupidly said, why aren't you over your divorce? It happened 5 years ago. My son died, you know, but that was in my ignorance.
Sometimes ego comes into play too, like, you know, because you've suffered such grief. And this does, it teaches you, when you get your lessons in succession, and then you get pure divine guidance from someone as beautiful as you.
Oh, thank you.
You learn so quickly. How to release, and all that noise, all those taught perceptions, they go. And I think in the interview that you and I did around your course, I said that one of the greatest gifts for me was that I now know what to say to someone who's in grief. And devastation.
And not only that, you also know how to move forward, which is beautiful. So we are going to run out of time. So I am going to post here an ebook that everyone can download, because it does go into life after loss. It explains why we grieve and suffer so much. And Michelle is obviously in the book.
That's great. That's a great booklet that you've put together there. Please, everyone, I can see my gorgeous friend Joanna from Chicago is in the feed. Hi, gorgeous. Please do download that book and have a look at that, because I think it would be really great. Jules, you'll love this book. Diana, just from what you've written, the way you emote, I think that this book would be great for you as well. And I love what you said, an emotion is an energy in motion. And it is so true. Yeah,
and it's important when you know that, you know, don't stop the motion. Like, let it come in, figure out what it's about, and then go forward. Emotional pain is equal no matter how big or small it is. It's exactly right, Bella. And most of us, we don't know what anyone else is going through. And the only way to know is to ask them, to say, how can I help you? And then, as we said earlier, just listen, you know, because that's how we do it. And it is about keep breathing, because when we breathe, we enact, you know, our threefold flame, our power, our wisdom, and our love. And that's what comes in through our breath. We've got 2 minutes left, Michelle. We're on countdown.
I'm so pleased we got to have a discussion here. I'm so grateful that everybody turned up. I think the people that I really wanted to see here, and I know I'm not sure if there's a link for later that people can watch or not.
You know, well, it stays on this form. It stays here, and I'll also share it on my Facebook pages, because as we know, we're all in the spiritual directory events, spiritual events directory Facebook page, which is amazing. So I will also share it onto my Facebook pages, which you can grab it from there and then share it, Michelle. But look, thank you so much. You are an amazing soul, and I'm really looking forward to what you actually do moving forward, because it is about helping people. And you know, like, we're both mothers of sons, so, and it is about helping the men to be able to know that it's okay to show their emotions.
And be in pain and speak their truth. Speak their truth. I encourage everybody to speak their truth. It sets you free. It sets you free. It sets you free. It sets you free. And then you can, if you just sit in a space of grace and gratitude for where you are at, if you just sit where you are at, the help you need, Karen,
Yeah.
come,
Thank you.
shows you the way. And
Yeah.
honestly, just speak your truth always. If you're going to do this process, and I encourage everyone to go through it, the truth will set you free. I promise you.
Oh,
it has
thank
been
you.
and it will.
And it's true. You know, it's the truth is true, sort of thing. So yeah. Well, thank you, Michelle. Love you. I loved working with you. You did the deep dive, and it wasn't easy. You
But
know,
it wasn't
some people
hard.
are not-
It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. It was
Oh,
difficult
cool.
because of my circumstances at the time, not because you made it hard. The course structure, it's meant to help you propel really quickly, and it did that. It took me out of a deep, dark despair into a bright, light lit future.
Cool.
And you did it quickly for me. It happened quickly. It was days.
It doesn't have to take time.
It
Okay.
doesn't.
Thank you. We're over the hour. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.